Nonstop News starts now.
Good morning. Welcome back. Your time is 6:45, 15 minutes of nonstop news. Weather and traffic start right now with breaking news. We are continuing to learn more after President Trump announced last night both he and the First Lady have tested positive for COVID-19.
Yep, let's take a live look at the White House right now. This is where both President Trump and Melania will continue to be in isolation for the coming days.
The president confirmed his positive test results just before midnight. He says, tonight, the First Lady and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together. Shortly after, First Lady Melania Trump tweeted saying, as too many Americans have done this year, the president and I are quarantining at home after testing positive for COVID-19. We're feeling good, and I have postponed all upcoming engagements. Please be sure you're staying safe, and we will get through this together.
President Trump's doctor confirmed the two's test results. The doctor says the two are both doing well right now. He says, quote, I expect the president to continue carrying out his duties without disruption while recovering, and I will keep you updated on any future developments. More well wishes are coming through this morning for both President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. Let's send it to Marissa Rios in the newsroom for the latest. Marissa?
Jordan, here's what's happening right now. The World Health Organization's Director General wished President Trump and the First Lady a full and speedy recovery. Back in May, President Trump announced the decision to withdraw the United States from WHO. Now, this withdrawal goes into effect on July 6th of 2021. The decision drew criticism from bipartisan lawmakers, medical experts, and world leaders. Now, Megan, Jordan, we have also just learned moments ago that Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden will get tested for COVID-19 this morning. Remember, just 3 days ago, Biden and Trump had their first national debate in person. They skipped the handshakes and stayed 6 feet apart, so we will be waiting on those results. Back to you guys.
You know, there was even a discussion at one point about an elbow bump, and they decided against the elbow bump, so I think that seems fortuitous at this point.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what those results are. All right, Marissa, thanks. Vice President Mike Pence also tweeted his reaction overnight. He says, quote, Karen and I send our love and prayers to our dear friends President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. We join millions across America praying for their swift and full recovery. God bless you, President Trump, and our wonderful First Lady Melania.
The news came hours after learning one of the president's top aides, Hope Hicks, tested positive for COVID-19. Hicks traveled with the president multiple times this week to a rally in Minnesota Wednesday and then aboard Air Force One to Tuesday night's first presidential debate in Cleveland. Staff members of both President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence have tested positive in the past, but Hicks is the closest advisor to Trump who's received the diagnosis. Hicks says she is experiencing symptoms. A small group of White House officials knew yesterday morning Hicks had tested positive, but President Trump still went to New Jersey for a fundraiser, and the press secretary still held a news briefing at the White House on Thursday. Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany did not wear a mask at that briefing. The director of the National Center Disaster Preparedness at Columbia University says Hope Hicks could be a super spreader. This is a list of 20 people who may have been in contact with Hicks in the 48 hours when she may have been active with COVID-19. That list includes Rudy Giuliani, Ivanka Trump, her husband Jared Kushner, among others. The CDC says an infected person can spread the virus starting 48 hours before a person has any symptoms or tests positive.
If she had symptoms and yesterday or the day before yesterday and is tested positive, she could have, for the last 2 weeks before that, been actually infected and asymptomatic, but able to spread the coronavirus. So the network that are going to have to be identified and contact traced, as we say, and tested is vast.
It's unclear where the Trumps and Hicks caught the virus. President Trump suggested in a Fox News interview it may have been spread by someone in the military or law enforcement.
With the president's diagnosis, the economy is starting to take a hit. Stocks are set to open lower in about 2 hours. You're taking a live look at the U.S. stock market futures board. So far, futures with the S&P have fallen 1.3%, and the Nasdaq has fallen nearly 1.8%. Investors say the president's diagnosis brings up a lot of questions, like whether or not the government will be able to function normally and how it will affect this election in just over 5 weeks.
Governor Mike Parson is also in isolation this morning, but First Lady Teresa Parson, she's no longer in isolation, even though they both tested positive for COVID-19 on the exact same day. One big question remains, did any other people test positive from interactions with the first couple? According to the Department of Health, that's not something we get to find out. The first couple tested positive on September 23rd. Just 5 days later, on September 28th, Teresa Parson ended her required isolation period. So this means the First Lady started showing symptoms on the 18th, then got tested 5 days later on the 23rd. So how many other people were close contacts to the First Lady and Governor Parson? Also, how many people have tested positive because of exposure to the first couple? The answers will remain secret.
Done very robust testing of everybody in their circle, both in Jeff City and other places. We cannot release the number of positives if the denominator is small, because one could then infer from that possibly who is positive. And we're bound by
Dr. Williams says it's up to the epidemiologist to determine if too few people have been tested to release the numbers.
Bar patrons and owners in Columbia will have to wait at least 2 more weeks for closing time to return to the wee hours of the morning. The current order that closes bars at 10:30 was set to expire at midnight on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday. Now, the order expires on October 20th at midnight, but nothing else is changing. The health department says it's extending the order because it's working. The department says the rolling 14-day positivity rate is sitting at a rate of 40, and the number of cases in the 18 to 22 age range has decreased by almost 61%. Now, some Columbia bar owners say at this point they're used to these new orders.
It just seems like since the beginning, when they started making a lot of these health measures or ordinances, it just seems like it's always like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I just kind of, and this seems like that middle ground, you know, where I think that they think it's like fair for us, so they're just going to keep extending it.
Columbia City Code requires that the City Council ratify the order if it's going to be in effect for more than 21 days. City Council plans to discuss the order at its October 5th meeting.
Statewide health officials are reporting nearly 1,800 new cases of COVID-19. The state's also reporting 10 new deaths related to COVID-19. The positivity rate over the past week is at 14.5%. Remember, the CDC recommends that rate be closer to 5%. The Phelps County Health Department reported 3 new deaths in the county in the last 2 days. That county has 136 active cases. 8 people are in the hospital. In Miller County, 1 new death was reported in the last 24 hours. And in Morgan County, 2 new deaths reported.
Boone County reported 38 new cases. 71 people are currently in the hospital across Boone County, a record number of hospitalizations at any given time. The county is reporting 328 currently active cases. Now, this is the 14-day average for the county. You can see we are continuing to trend downward. This data is from the New York Times, so it is a few days behind.
Cole County is reporting 28 new COVID-19 cases across the county. It has 133 active COVID-19 cases. Here's its 14-day average for the county. Cole County's average is trending upward. The last updated positivity rate is just below 27. Callaway County reported 79 active COVID-19 cases. This is 32 fewer than it had on Tuesday. Here's Callaway County's 14-day average. You can see Callaway is starting to trend down. Again, remember, data is just a few days behind. So for Columbia parents, the CPS 14-day average rate of new cases sits at 37.7. You can see it is continuing to go down. The district says that rate has to stay below 50 before it would consider moving to a hybrid version of school. These are just a few of the latest numbers. We always have a complete recap of the COVID-19 situation across the state and here in mid-Missouri. It's all on our website, KOMU.com.
In mid-Missouri, Columbia will resume utility disconnections on Monday. The agencies that offer families assistance, though, are running out of its own money. St. Vincent de Paul is one of 3 agencies that help with utility payments. The charity saw a 25% increase in families needing help. Columbia stopped utility disconnections back in March, and now that grace period is over, more than 5,400 households are at a risk of disconnection.
KOMU 8 First Alert Weather.
All right, it's chilly outside this morning. Our temperatures are currently in the mid to upper 30s in a lot of spots over northern Missouri. We're around about 41, 42 in Columbia. Still just enough of a breeze outside, though, to kick up a wind chill. The wind is not active today, but it does look like we have some wind chills around 38 right now in Columbia. Windcast, it simulates out a much more relaxed atmosphere than yesterday. Yesterday and even back on Wednesday, we were getting some wind gusts up near 25 to 30 miles per hour. It's been kind of a breezy week so far, even since Monday, really. Our current conditions over the Columbia Regional Airport, nice and calm. It's quiet. 42 is the temperature with a mostly clear sky. Wind out of the north and west, still at 6 miles per hour. And you see there the wind chill down near 38 degrees. So it is chilly enough for some jackets this morning. Most of us are going to be out the door right around about 40 degrees here for the morning temperature. Upper 30s, though, for northern Missouri, and actually some locations like Macon and Moberly, and even up near Kirksville, some frost could be possible on your windshield this morning. 40 will be the morning temperature, 53 at lunchtime. Because of the more relaxed breeze, shouldn't be as chilly today. I still think you'll probably keep the jacket on and even into the afternoon. A high temperature reaches 61 this afternoon. Your 3-day forecast for your upcoming weekend, it looks rainy tomorrow. Temperatures for much of the day only in the 50s. Will officially hit a high of 60 tomorrow afternoon. 61 with increasing sunshine on Sunday. Monday looks a little bit more improved, and that's how it'll be next week. Sunny, mild, and very dry next week. Highs next week get back into the 70s.
All right, Tim, thanks. A few hours ago, MUPD reported shots fired near 9th and Elm Streets. The university sent out several alerts asking the public to stay away from the area. MUPD said one suspect exited a white Mercedes near the scene, and the suspect is older than college-aged. Around 10 o'clock, MUPD said they detained 2 people but are still looking for a third. The case is currently under investigation. One person is in the hospital after a house fire in Rocheport yesterday afternoon. Firefighters say they found someone inside the burning home. That person was taken to the hospital to be treated for burns. The assistant fire chief says that there is no status yet on that burn victim.
1,200 Pettis County ballots that were reported missing Wednesday have now been found. In a news release, officials say the ballots will be hand-delivered to Pettis County Clerk Nick Lestrada. The ballots were in the custody of the U.S. Postal Service when they were reported missing. The release did not say where or how the ballots were found. If you're still unsure of how or which way to vote, we do have a complete voter guide on our website. It gives you all the important deadlines you need to remember. It tells you how to register to vote and then breaks down the difference between in-person, mail-in, absentee, when do you need it to be notarized. All of that's on our website, KOMU.com. Now it's time for KOMU 8's top 8 stories making headlines in the day ahead. President Trump has tested positive for COVID-19. He confirmed his positive test results just before midnight. He said tonight, the First Lady and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together.
The news came just hours after news of one of President's top aides also testing positive for the virus. Hope Hicks traveled with the president multiple times this week. Staff members of both President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence have tested positive in the past. A small group of White House officials knew yesterday morning that Hope Hicks had tested positive. The President Trump still went to New Jersey for a fundraiser, and the press secretary still held a news briefing at the White House on Thursday.
The grand jury recording in the Breonna Taylor case is set to be made public later today. The motion from Attorney General Daniel Cameron to delay release of the grand jury record was approved by Judge Ann Bailey Smith.
Missouri Governor Mike Parson still in isolation until Saturday morning. He and First Lady Teresa Parson tested positive for COVID-19 last Wednesday. Teresa ended her isolation period on Monday.
The Columbia and Boone County Health Department has extended its health order. This order is keeping bars closed at 10:30. The health department says it's extending the order because it is working. Police are investigating after responding to a shots fired call near 9th and Elm Street last night. MUPD says one suspect exited a white Mercedes near the scene, and the suspect is older than college-aged.
A person is in the hospital after firefighters rescued that person from a burning house. Firefighters responded to the call in Rocheport yesterday afternoon. And that's your top 8, the 8 stories you'll want to know about or keep an eye on in the day ahead.
And a final look at your forecast as we go into the next couple of days. Today looks dry, but into the weekend, chances for some rain on Saturday. Should clear up by Sunday. It looks like our precipcast shows some of this rain and cloud cover. It's not here today. Things, again, are going to be dry and sunny, but by tomorrow morning, some opportunities for some scattered showers will be with us. About a quarter to maybe even up to a half of an inch of rainfall could be possible tomorrow. Looks like temperatures tomorrow only near a high of 60, 61 on Sunday. Much more improved for a forecast next week, and actually next week looks a little bit quieter too.
We do have some breaking news to pass along to you. NBC News just tweeted Vice President Mike Pence and the Second Lady have tested negative for COVID-19 this morning. This is coming from the Vice President's office.
We'll have the latest coming.